Okay, next we're going to create models. Now, why do we need models? So models are a way for us to access database rows with a given PHP class. Now, that's a really bad definition, but it's a succinct and simpler one for the purposes of this. They are not always one-to-one with a table, but for the purposes of just learning, I'll say that they are. Okay, so let's go ahead and create a model. Artisan make model, and we're going to call this one post. And we also want some categories. Okay, so let's make another one. Artisan make model category. Okay, and we need some migrations for that category. So let's go PHP artisan make migration create categories table. Okay, so let's go to that. Let's create a category. And you know what, let's keep it consistent. Let's call it title. And let's give it one more, like a short description of what the category is. Okay. So let's go ahead and run that migration. So we run sail artisan migrate. Boom. Okay. So let's go check our database. And refresh. And there it is. Okay. So we've got categories. That's cool. So let's go ahead and let's just add some stuff in here. And then this is not the way we would do it, but for the purposes of showing what models are, let's go ahead and make some stuff inside the database. So we've got a title here, Mando's day at the park. I took him to the park earlier today. He was a very good boy. There we go. And let's give creative. This is a little shortcut. You can give it the date of now. There we go. Okay. So we've got a post in here. And then let's make another one. Let's make title Harley is a very fluffy kitty. Harley likes to sleep on my head at night. All right. And let's just put this for and oops. Oh, it doesn't like the new line. There we go. Okay. All right. So I've got two posts inside the database. So let's go ahead and get those into a view. So how do we get it from here into our list view that we had before? Well, let's check it out. Let's go to our post controller. And instead of doing this, I'm going to pull in the post model. And the post model gives me access to the database rows. Okay. So we can say posts equal, and then post all. And this will give us all the posts that are in the database and display them in the list. And let's go back to that view, and we might have to adjust this view real quick. And instead of these being arrays, they will be objects. So we will say post title, and then post content. Okay. Let's refresh. There we go. So these are coming from the database now. They're not hard-coded. They're coming from our actual database. And you can see the content, the fields that these are here, and all kinds of stuff here. Next, let's go ahead and see one. I just want to see one at a time. Okay, so let's go to our post controller. And this is where we have to do something special here. We're going to have to type this input. We're going to have to give it the type that it is. So we want to tell Laravel that this is going to be a post model. So post. Okay. And this is going to be what we pass in here. What this does is it tells Laravel that when I pass in an ID or something to the URL, I want you to go and grab that post and put it into the view. And this will make sense when we actually do it. So let's go back to the single thing and let's set up a proper view here. So let's call this H1 post title H1 and then P post content. Oops, I can't type. Sorry, y'all. Watch me struggle to type. I promise I do this for a living. Okay. There. So that's what it's going to look at as a single one. So this is going to have an ID. Let's go look at here. This is going to have an ID of 1. Okay. So we're going to do /1 and Mando's day at the park. Oh, that's pretty cool. So it shows me a single view. This right here, this is going to be ID2. So this is kind of that's kind of cool, right? But, without the IDs, you won't know how to get there, right? So let's make some links. And to do links, we need to create a route name, and I'll show you how to do that here. Let's go to our web folder, and we're going to create route names. And route names let us generate route URLs based on some parameters. So let's call this name, and then let's call this post.index. And this is sort of a naming convention. You can do it however you want, but sort of using this as like a dot notation is kind of how it's done. So let's do name post.show. Okay. And in order to generate a link for a single post, let's go back to our index file here. And let's make the H2 a link as well. I know this is probably not semantic, but a ref. Okay. And in here, we're going to use a helper called route, and we're going to pass the name. So post.show, and we're going to pass in the route parameters. And in this instance, it is just the object of post. So, oops. Sorry, post. There we go. Am I missing something here? Yeah. Close bracket. Okay, so let's make this a bit easier to look at. All right, so this gives us, what this will do is generate a route based on that H2. Okay. And we can click on this, and there it is. Boom. And it already creates the URL based on this helper here. So you say, I want to send it this route, and I know that this route takes this parameter. And that is declared here. Okay? So that's how we create routes, named routes, and put data into a view. That's pretty cool. But let's say that we want to show like categories. Okay? So let's create a new migration, and we need to add some stuff to these migrations. We're going to create a relationship, and we're going to create a relationship between categories and posts. So for simplicity, each post can only belong to one category. Okay, there are way more complex relationships than that, but for the purposes of this, we're going to say that one post, a post belongs to a category, but category can have many posts. Okay, so let's add a category here. Let's say that this is a category about dogs. And this is a category about dogs. And then here, there's probably an easier way to do this, but. Okay, that. And then let's do cats. This is a category about cats. This is a category about cats. And we're going to put now. Okay, save it. Cool. Okay, so how do we relate these two to posts here, right? So what we're going to do is create a new migration. We could have included this on the original migration, but I wanted to show how you update a table. So we're going to run PHP artisan make migration add category ID to what was this, post table? Post table. Okay, so add category. There it is. Okay, and this is another example of how it just knows what we want to do. Look at this. So it's not schema create, it's schema table, which means that it wants to modify the existing table. So we're going to add a column here, table, integer, and we're going to call this category ID. Okay. And what this means is that it's going to tell the model that which category it belongs to. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and run this. Okay. And then let's go back to our posts table. And look at that. We've got category ID there. So Mando's about a dog. So I know we have some categories here. Let's make that 1. And this is going to be 2 because it's about kitty cats. Cool. Oops. All right. So that's how we have it set up in the database. Now we need to do one more step, and that's to tell the PHP side, hey, we have access to this information on our model. So let's go to the post model here. And we are going to do something called eloquent, an eloquent relationship. So we're going to say public function category, and we're going to return a special method called belongs to. So return this belongs to, and we're going to call it category. And Laravel's smart enough to know that you're talking about the category ID foreign key on that row. So you don't have to pass in anything else if you don't want to. You can name that column something else and just tell it what you named it. Like if we called it something different, you could put it here. But it's smart enough to know that this is the category parent model and it belongs to that table. Inversely, we need to define the inverse. So category has posts. And notice this is plural because we're talking about posts that it has. So return this has many post class, just like that. And that's it. So now let's go to our view for our single view. And then let's just add like one thing to here and say what category. Category. Post category. And then title, I think we called it. And there we go. So if we see a single post, we've got the category that it's assigned to, and it's called dogs. It's pretty cool. Yeah, so that's a relationship between two models. It's the simplest one, but there's lots more. You can look at them, and the docs are really good on how to set these up. But I wanted to show you how you could pull those into a view and see that data coming from a database, which is pretty neat. So the last thing we're going to do here is let's create some factories, okay? So factories are a way to create a lot of fake data that you need, okay? Let's create one for posts. Post factory model, and we're going to tell it that the model we want to give it to is post. All right, so post factory. And what this is going to do is create a lot of fake posts inside of our database that we can use to, I don't know, do all kinds of stuff. And you'll see when this makes life easier in unit testing. So title this faker, and we can access the faker generator that's on this class just by accessing this dash faker. And then let's do title. Actually, let's do it like a sentence. Sentence, and then content. Oops. This, and then this is going to be faker, and then let's do paragraph. Okay. Cool. So now let's go ahead and get started in filling up our database. So let's create some categories, and instead of doing this manually inside of our database like we did before, let's do this in code. So let's grab category, factory, create, and this create method here that we're tacking on here will fill our model with properties when it saves it. And I'll show you what that looks like. So we're going to title equals dogs, content. And this might look familiar, right? This is what we put in our database. So let's go look. He was a very good boy. Okay, so we're going to create one, and then let's create another category. Factory, create, title, cats, content. What did I have for Harley? Harley likes to sleep on my head at night. Okay. Okay, so now we need to create all the posts. So now that all of these posts, these categories will be in the database, now we can iterate over the categories and fill each one with posts. So for each, and then we can do category all as category. And here's some special notation. So what we're going to do is save an eloquent relationship. So we're going to create a model and save it to another model. So we're going to do category and then posts, save, and then we're going to pass it a factory. So we're going to pass it that factory that we created. So we're going to do post factory make like that. And let's give it, let's figure out how many posts we want. Let's just say we want each to have 10 posts. Okay. So let's save that. And then we can delete this. And what this is going to do is it's going to say, let's create a factory here. Let's create a category here. Let's create a category here. And then each one of those, after we've created them, I want to put posts. I want to fill it with posts. Okay. I think it's save many. Yeah, there we go. Okay. And then that will fill each category with posts. So how do we actually do that? So let's do sale artisan migrate. And the command is actually refresh. And what refresh does is it runs all the down commands for our migrations. Okay. So migrate PHP artisan, sale artisan migrate refresh seed. And this flag tells it to, when you're done tearing down the database and putting it back up, we want to seed it. We want to run this seeder. Okay. So let's see what happens. Okay, so category factory not found. Did I not create a category factory? Let's go. Let's see. Oh, I didn't. Okay, my bad. I didn't create a factory. PHP artisan make factory. Category factory model. And then let's call this category. Okay. Content. Do we not give it content? Into categories. Yeah, we did. Oh, do I have to add that to the... Oh. Let's do this. Faker. What do we say? Sentence? Yeah. Oh, okay, never mind. Okay, I just reread the error. Scratch that. So I'm sending in the wrong column name because we called it description and not content. So let's go back to our database seeder. This should be desk. Okay, let's try again. There we go. Okay, so seeded correctly. Let's go to our database. Whoa, check that out. Look at that. We've got some posts in there. That's pretty neat. And then we go to categories, and we have inserted these with our seeder, which is pretty cool. So now we can refresh, and look at that. We've got all this stuff from our database that we're pulling in. We're able to see the category that it's under. That is pretty cool. So the next thing we're going to do is write a couple of really basic tests using these factories, and we will assert that we are seeing some data on these views. So I will see you there.